I dare say.
I dare say. That's my line.
This is going to be interesting, but powerful.
Daring.
No, like.
You okay with it?
Very much so. I'm ready.
Okay. All
yeah.
right.
Yep.
This is
hey.
daring.
Disclaimer. This podcast showcases business partners and friends that engage in lively conversations about books over many drinks. Content may not be suitable for viewers under 21.
Hey y'all!
Hi guys!
Hi, welcome to another episode of Books and Booze.
I'm Leilani.
And I am Kristen, and we created this podcast to take you on this journey with us of literature and libations and just letting our hair down.
An after hours preview.
Absolutely, of like fun business.
Yeah,
like you said, after hours.
After
right?
hours. We're both business owners, and we get a moment to let you guys share what it is to be with us, having a great couple hundred drinks, and talking about some great books that we've read. So, Kristen,
yes.
What are we drinking?
So, Manifest Distilling out of Jacksonville, Florida. You guys got a chance to go,
Yes,
you and Danny.
Yes, we did.
Kevin and I will absolutely be there. The name just speaks to us so much.
Very much so.
And what a great gin, spirit in general, to pair with an incredible book. But y'all, Jacksonville, Florida, like downtown is beautiful, all the bridges, right?
They have that nice river that flows right through the city.
Oh,
you can
it's
grab
gorgeous.
a sunset boat.
Yep.
And they'll go and take you down the river, and it lights up, and you see all the city lights right
So
as
pretty.
sunset's coming down.
Oh, wow.
So beautiful.
So, yes,
Yeah.
Jacksonville's a great city, and Manifest Distilling, beautiful distillery.
Very, very
posh.
chic, very posh.
But still very comfortable,
Great
real.
environment. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Very, very cozy environment with very warm and friendly team members that are working there. So great job, guys. Keep it up.
And this particular barrel-aged gin, like, the dogs are sleeping at our feet as we're recording this, and we got a deep sigh of happiness. This particular gin is just so complex, right? We got the juniper, of course. We got the citrus.
Yes.
And we've been enjoying this the last 3 episodes. This is our 4th. And we kind of have like a citrus aid here, right? I think it's a little bit of orange, a little bit of pineapple.
Yep. Soda. I think lime or lemon.
And then the basil tree. That is overtaking my backyard. So, cheers, my friend, to another great book. I mean, this gin is amazing. Let's cheers to the gin.
Mm-hmm.
And then the book. You have read this book already.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
Yes, I have. Actually, a few times. I was first introduced to it by a friend who took me on exploration of how business does not have to be separated from personal. Actually, good mental state, spirituality, alignment on your personal side creeps over and bleeds into business. And so making sure you're completely aligned on your personal side will make sure you're aligned on your business side. And so she recommended that I read this book because she knew it was going to affect my business outlook, and it absolutely did.
I can see that. And I think as we really come through, so Mike Dooley actually lives here in Orlando, Florida.
Yeah.
There we are. Hi, Mike.
Hi, Mike.
I'm sure at some point we'll meet for lunch and talk about all of his amazing...
I'm manifesting it.
Yes.
I'm visualizing it.
It's going to happen. But he really helps you start at ground zero, even if you're contemplating or even doubting the manifestation technique, really how to get rid of those paradigms in our mindset and change and understand that thoughts become things, and then emotions and actions, and then how the gifts of the universe being hunches, intuition,
Yeah.
all of that. Like, we've built the past 3 episodes with this. And
What I really love is just getting out of our own way. He gives us it's almost like a step-by-step guide to build yourself up, to get out of your own way so you can get stuff happening and
make it happen
along
and
in
move
your
it along.
life. Yeah.
And whether you want that to happen in your personal life, right?
Yeah.
Mike definitely touches on things, and there's even a chapter further ahead where he gets into relationships, if that's what you need in life. But I think as business owners, manifestation is a really important technique to understand, because you have to stay positive as a business owner, and you have to think about what your business is going to accomplish, and you almost have to say it in a positive tense versus I wish this would happen. No, this is going to happen.
It's the overarching vision. So prime example, we're launching new projects in our business, and so the overarching business is that we want to be able, for example, in Books and Booze, we would love to be able to record Books and Booze in small distilleries or small wineries to feature their product and pair it with a great book that can align with business or mindset. So when Kristen and I speak, we don't speak as in one day we hope. We are already planning our business around that it will happen.
Absolutely.
Right?
Because we know it will.
We know it will.
And it will happen because it's also going to benefit others. And I think Mike gets into this in this last fourth of his book. But yes, we're speaking it into existence, if you will. Acting as if, absolutely. So Mike kind of begins this last quarter of the book explaining what it's like when you go to take a photo, right? You've got to use your camera, and you have to focus on what it is that you're wanting to take a photo of. And you do need to understand the mechanics of how a camera works.
Yeah.
However, you do not need to know literally what is the exact makeup of your camera, or what is the exact curvature angle of your lens necessarily. And he kind of aligns that to when you manifest. You do need to know what you're going after, but you may not need to understand the how that it's going to happen.
Yeah.
You kind of need, there's a little bit of trust, and he gets into the word faith a lot.
Yes.
But he says that, he uses this phrase, knowing is the elixir of life. And I had to go back and reread this over and over, because he's like, it's not about the hows, but then he says knowing is the elixir of life. I'm like, how is knowing not how? And it was this complex, and I wasn't even drinking at the time. I mean, this is 7 in the morning.
I know, I can imagine you going back and forth. And knowing is the elixir of life. It's just having faith, and that's where you come back into it. It's having faith. You don't need to know all the ins and outs. Just know that it will happen.
Absolutely. That's exactly what he says.
Yeah.
And he says you may not understand how your dreams are going to come true, but you can understand how to cultivate your focus. And I think that's even look at us with what we're wanting to accomplish, everything with Sage, right? We want to help people achieve their dreams, grow their businesses. The exact how, I think, will continue to evolve. We have a current method, and our customers are going to teach us, the universe will teach us, and things like that. But the ultimate goal is what we want to do, and we know what we need to continue to cultivate in ourselves so we can be the best resource for our clients.
Agreed.
Right?
Very much
so we can continue to educate ourselves and be prepared and expand ourselves. But at some point, like in Think and Grow Rich, I think it was let go of the dials, ma'am.
Yes.
Or ma'am, let go of something like that, right?
Jesus, take the wheel.
Jesus, take the wheel, absolutely. And he talks about it's important to have faith, but it's not necessarily blind faith or faith in lieu of understanding, but it's faith engaged by understanding. And this is, I think, where he gets in, he refers even back to the action piece. It's not just randomly throwing darts. You've got to work towards what it is that your dreams are and take those first steps.
And I think sometimes that's hard or difficult for others, because you can see the end goal, you see what you want, and then you start thinking of the cursed hows. How am I going to get there? When really just be focused on taking the first step in that direction. Right? So if your dream is to run your own business, well, the first step is registering the name of your company.
Absolutely.
Right, so take that first step, and then go open up a bank account. Right, and after you open up the bank account, go order your checkbooks. Make sure you get your debit cards. You know, just
get your domain.
Yes,
all of these things are minuscule costs, if anything.
If anything,
right?
And they require your time, but they are moving you in the direction of your end goal, which is to have your own company. So just don't get worried about the cursed house, right?
Right.
Look at the end goal of where you want to be, and then move in that direction.
Small steps, little bit every day.
Small steps, because if you start thinking so far in the future, then you're going to get too tied up on inaction.
And how far, like, I can't do that tomorrow, but what you can do is, like you said, those small steps. So what I appreciate in this part is Mike really aligns that almost all of us want the exact same thing.
Yeah.
We want abundance of some kind.
Yeah.
Health and harmony. And I would agree.
Agree.
And he even acknowledges that abundance comes in different currencies.
Yes, it does.
So for some people, it is a financial abundance. For others, it might be a time abundance. For others, it might be there's so many different things. And I think this is really, I remember going to hear a certain famous missionary or something at a church, and he was showing pictures of all the work he was doing in I think on the African continent. And I remember turning to Kevin at that point, and I was like, I love what he's doing. I was like, but I feel like he's really imposing what our standards are here in America on what they should want and have as a standard
over there.
And it just didn't feel like
it didn't align with you.
It didn't align because that wasn't how anybody was living. You know, yes, the American dream, right? You want to have a house, you want to have a car and 2.4 kids. Not sure how that really works out, but that's what the American dream is, right? But you look at so many different tribes in different areas in general, and there is a song and a laughter and a peace that's coming. And Mike, who has had the privilege now of traveling the world, that didn't resonate with him either. The fact that Western expectations imposing, he's like, some of the happiest people he's ever encountered are some of these individuals at various tribes. And you know, you get these on various continents. It's not just the African continent or the South American continent. But there is a sense of community, a sense of pride, and a sense of they help each other.
Yeah.
And there's a happiness that he said most Westerners can't even fathom.
So my husband was telling me a story earlier, and we were having a discussion very similar to this. And for a period of time, he lived in South America, and some people that he knew, or some of the happiest people he knew, were some of the ones most impoverished. You know, playing basketball in flip-flops, or coming in with tattered clothes, but they always had a smile on their face. And very much we're living for today. They lived in the moment.
In the moment.
When they were buying groceries, they were buying for that day. Or maybe that day and tomorrow's meal.
Maybe tomorrow, yeah.
But they
weren't thinking ahead.
They were just some of
Stressing.
the happiest people. Yeah. Where we think, well, it would be better if they buy for the week, or
they had 3 fridges to keep various things
or
in.
even it was down to what he was saying, like they would go and buy cigarettes, and instead of a pack of cigarettes, they would go and buy 3 cigarettes, or shampoo. Instead of buying a bottle of shampoo, they would buy the little packs. And yes, that has to do too with the amount of money that they have. But
that's their currency.
Yes. They were okay. They could have spent their money on buying more, but they were like, we're not coming with the mindset that it won't be there tomorrow. They understood that we just need to buy for today, and we can come back.
And if we need it tomorrow, we need it tomorrow. If we don't, we get something else.
Yes.
It's really beautiful.
Yeah, and it's very foreign to us as Westerners.
Right, because we're supposed to have a pantry.
Yeah, we need to stock
and a linen
up.
closet full of everything, so that when our 4th bottle runs out, we don't have to run. And I mean, I look at what happened at COVID. How the heck did our country run out of toilet paper? I'm sorry.
Yeah, I don't know either. There's water. The water didn't run out.
So as we wrap the book up here, Mike refers to what happens so keep in mind, his whole point of this book is to help you learn how to manifest and really live the life that you've ever dreamed.
Yeah.
And he's helping you shift your mindset, shift your thinking. And he paints this really beautiful picture of, all right, how many times do we look in the mirror and we're like fixing our hair, doing little pouty lip, fixing our makeup, and if there's something in the mirror we don't like, do we fix it on the mirror or do we fix it on ourselves? And he says this is part of that shifting to be able to manifest. If there's something we don't like on the outside in the reflection, because he talks about really what's happening in the physical world is a reflection of what's happening internally.
Yes. This is what you see.
Yes. And this is so true because it's how you interpret things. It's how you see things. It's the story you tell yourself.
And you're going to notice it more because it's the things about yourself you don't like.
So when you're going through those emotions and you're like, I'm stressed about this, you take time to reflect on that. So you can't fix what you see in the mirror by drawing on the mirror.
Yeah.
You have to work on what's inside.
There's an accountability function to that. It's taking accountability and responsibility for the things that you do not like. Take accountability that it's really on you to fix it.
It is.
It's not on. It's even in relationships. I'm not trying to say if you're getting beat, it's, you know
That's
what I mean.
a whole different
That's
thing.
a whole nother
Yes.
thing. But it's also if you are being abused, why are you allowing yourself to be abused, and what can you do to stop it?
Get yourself to safety.
Get some help.
And then how can you get the support you need for even your mindset of what is acceptable?
Yeah, it's not only the help to get away, but the help to
shift what you would even allow before it gets to that point.
But it takes acknowledgement.
That's such a sensitive thing.
It is a sensitive. I know I brought it up.
No, it's just there's a lot of complexity to once we get there, and even it's not. I don't think any of us ever have said we allow something like that to happen, but.
No, but I
from an outsider looking in, how would you allow that to happen?
It is,
right?
And I know it's a complex issue to bring up. It's very sensitive for others, but we talk about the mirror.
Yes.
Right? So you're looking at yourself in the mirror and you don't like something. You don't try to change the mirror. You go and change yourself. And I know it's a very sensitive issue, but part of any type of abuse, right? Mental abuse, physical, whatever, any type of abuse comes from acknowledgement of what the abuse that is happening, and then you taking action on yourself to protect yourself.
Sure.
Go away, find help. Yeah. That's why I brought it up.
We have choices.
And that,
we may not feel we have the choices in the moment, but truly we do. Right? And anybody who's getting help will eventually learn that. And it's so interesting because, like you're saying, our brain tells us exactly what we like and what we don't like. And it's not our brains, though, that pass judgment.
Yeah.
It's our kind of essence, our soul,
spirit.
our spirit, however you want to word it. And this is what Mike's trying to help us understand. Because we look in the mirror and we could be like, you're fixing yourself in the mirror and like, ugh, you look so pale, or you look perfect. But that's not our brain telling us that. That's something deeper inside. And I remember I brought Mr. Nightingale up before because I just love listening to his strangest secret. But the brain is much like the earth. The brain doesn't care what you plant in it, much like the earth doesn't care what you plant in it. But it will harvest and give you an abundant crop of whatever you do plant. And so Nightingale had given the example of if you plant nightshade, which is a poison, or wheat or corn, something like that, it will grow it in abundance. It doesn't care whether it's bad or good. And much like our brain.
Yes.
Right? Our brain will just continue to do whatever it is we feed it. And this could be a great thing or a dangerous thing.
Yes.
Because we can separate our thoughts and our judgments and our everything, but it's hard to do.
It can be
the stories
hard.
we tell ourselves.
Your limiting beliefs. Yes.
Absolutely.
And filtering through those limiting beliefs is what makes it difficult.
It
right?
totally does. Absolutely. So he gives an example, Mike does, at one point where he was really struggling with something, I think even just maybe keeping food down or something like that. And he had gone to a doctor or something, and by no means are we doctors or one to guide anything, but he kind of got a checkup, and the particular person that he went to said his body is functioning correctly, so his body was fine. But as I read in along with the book, it almost was like he needed to almost change, one, his mindset, and two, what he was giving his body, because his body was reacting a certain way.
Yeah.
So it was kind of twofold.
Yeah.
And this is, I think, very much an important part of manifestation. What you are telling yourself, what you're giving yourself. You have to take care of your body, you have to take care of your spirit and soul to make it effective.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah, and sometimes you could be manifesting those ailments yourself, right?
It completely happens. I look at the power of a placebo.
Yeah.
I think doctors came up, the medical field has those for a reason.
Because they notice it as well. It could be just up there.
It could be. It can
Yeah.
be.
It can.
Not that it always is, and we're not here to...
Please, I'm not trying to say that at all. But like, prime example, if I overwork myself and I don't rest when my body is already
Says
giving
rest.
me the signals to rest, it will manifest sickness. Like literally I will get a cold or a dizzy spell or something that keeps me in bed because my body will physically manifest a sickness to put me in bed to rest.
Give yourself... And you know what? Mike had said something else, and I don't have the exact quote in front of me, but he talks about when what you're going after isn't aligned with your core essence, your body will manifest the warning signals. And that's so true.
When there is conflict and contradiction, your body will manifest, like you will have physical feelings. I don't know if for you, if something doesn't feel right, you get that gut
in your
feeling,
gut,
you feel nauseous
or
or
you
whatever.
just feel exhausted.
I've learned that if there's, for example, if there's an event coming up, first I'll check my emotional state. And do I have enough energy to be present in that particular event, right? And if I don't, why? So you peel those layers back, right?
Check.
And then, so if you've eliminated the fact that it's an emotional thing, but it's still not sitting right with you, I don't do it.
Good for you.
I don't do it. If it doesn't feel it, I'll be like, no, okay, I'm not doing it. And sometimes it does cause conflict, but I have to pay attention to what my body is telling me. And it could also be my soul, my intuition, whatever. It could be a lot of things telling me.
All the gifts that he
Yes.
talks about. That
Don't do that, you know?
You know, so when I was younger, I used to work, being raised within the church, I worked at a Christian bookstore. And this was amazing, right? I met so many incredible people. But working at a religious center, you get a lot of different viewpoints coming in. And I remember once praying, I said, okay, if I meet somebody, and not meet as in try to date, I'm just saying customers come in. If I meet somebody and they're trying to talk something that's not right, please have it just not make sense to me and confuse me. But if it's right, please have it just be perfectly clear. And it's honestly not anything I've ever let go of as a prayer, despite how I've evolved. And I remember literally there would be people who come in and like, yes, I'm a pastor of this church, and did you know that this is already happening in the world, and da-da-da-da. And I would just hear them, and it literally sounded like Charlie Brown. Wah, 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 wah. And then other people would come and talk to me, and it would like begin to shift my mindset, and those things that they would say would make sense. But I've held on to that prayer, or that manifestation, if you will, because I don't ever want anything toxic to come into my mind and derail me, but I want to be open and receptive and learning. And
That's a great prayer.
this is what gave me an odd peace of mind about this book. And it, like I told you before we even started this, like this is hard to want to be perceived as this trustworthy professional woman who can help you with your business, help you with leadership. I am not woo-woo, I am not crazy, but here we are talking about manifesting while drinking.
In space and time.
In space and time.
Yeah.
But as I'm reading this book, that prayer has sat in my head for over 30 years. And the words on this page did not blur. They were not crazy. I've read books that I could not recite a single word to you. I certainly have. Not the ones we've done on our episodes, but I've on a search for wisdom and guidance and everything like that. And you know I'm a conspiracy theorist. Oh, if you're a conspiracy theorist, hit me up. I love a good conspiracy. And certain ones, just I cannot even keep them in my brain. It's almost like they are a language that is not comprehensible. And then other ones just open up as, Kristen, look into this further.
I certain parts of even books that we've read, certain chapters hit more than others.
Sure.
But this one entertains me, and not entertains me, it feeds my spirit the entire time.
And pushes you to realize there's more.
Yeah. This is one of those books that I told Kristen, when everyone goes through cycles, ebbs and flows, right? And when you're one of those down cycles, and we all go through it, I'll pick it up. I'll pick it up and I'll just start reading through it. And typically I'll land on a page or a chapter that resonates with me for whatever I'm going through. It makes me feel better. Yeah.
I know, I remember texting in our family group text, here's what I'm reading, and I was, I think, laying at the pool, so I think the picture was like my toes by the pool and just the book, and Danny's like, amazing book, great, pick me up, or something like that. It was awesome, which is so true. So, Mike continues to help you truly understand how to have that abundance, health, and harmony. And I don't want to dwell too much on the health, right? Like, if you're dealing with something, we're not your advisors. No. Please go to your doctor.
We're not. But he does give some insight.
He gives some perspective, and even stuff that he personally had to dwell with. But I would still say consult, a professional.
I would too.
But then you get to harmony. And this is what I love. He reminds you that harmony is already within you.
Yeah, it is.
And that harmony, abundance, all of that, it's your natural state to be in.
And when you are in conflict with that natural state, that's when you don't feel good.
That's when things don't go right.
Yeah.
Because you look outside and none of the critters of the world. Now, yes, I love David Attenborough, and I watch all of his possible animal, sea, planet. This is my happy place. And sometimes does the tiger not make the kill or what have you? Sure, that's for entertainment purposes. But I can guarantee you, animals are not concerned for where their next meal is coming from, their shelter. They are abundantly and wildly cared for and provided for. Do they have to do the work themselves? Yes. Absolutely. But it's not beyond their reach and beyond anything they can accomplish. And so, because, Mike acknowledges that, I've seen that too. When he talks about harmony being within us, he says that there's really 3 things you have to acknowledge within that. One is acceptance. Harmony is within us. Second, be self-reassuring whenever there's turbulence.
Yep.
Right? And then third is realize that everything is exactly as it should be. And you and I even hinted on this. Sometimes things don't go the right way.
They don't. And it's almost like that bumper sticker that just says shit happens. Right?
Right?
And it really does. Shit does happen, but it needs to happen because you're exactly where you need to be.
And I think back to your story, you've been vulnerable and shared with us, you getting laid off. That was not a good feeling.
Not at all.
But it was what took you to the path you needed for what you asked for.
Yeah.
You wanted to be working from home with your kids. You didn't want to miss. I remember you even saying you missed so much with your firstborn.
Yeah,
you were not going to miss it.
Was determined.
So Mike wraps this book up in so many ways. I mean, there's a chapter about relationships. He digs deeper into abundance, health, and happiness, and everything like that. But wrapping this up, he really talks about, you already went into the cursed house, and you can't, right?
I mean, that's one of the hardest things. The cursed house are one of the hardest things because you think about what you want, and the first thing is like those monkeys we talk about. The first thing you want to do is think about, how am I going to get it? I want to go to Bora Bora. How am I going to get it? I want to open up my own business. How am I going to get it? I want a Maserati. How? What am I going to have to sell? How much money am I going to have to make? Do I need to remortgage my house? All these things come into how you're going to obtain what you want to get. Forget about that. Just focus on like you said, the Christmas list. I want a Maserati. I want my own job. I want to go to Bora Bora. And just put it on a piece of paper, close it up.
Well, and he talks about the danger of kind of stacking, like, okay, I want to be a great author, but I want to travel the world. So, people tend to try to manifest and say, I'm going to have a best-selling book so that I can go to Bora Bora.
Yeah.
No.
They're two
Be
separate
like,
things.
I'm gonna have a great book. It's gonna be a bestseller, and I'm gonna travel the world.
And so I actually want to build on that. Go broad. Don't say, I want to be the best-selling author of DIY, how to distill your own whiskey and brew your own wine.
Right. That may not be the path for you.
And it needs
Might
to
be what you love right now.
Yeah,
but
it needs to be a New York bestseller. You know, it has to be those. It can't just be, I want to be a bestseller.
Yes.
So talking about be broad with what it is that you want. Do not try to get into the nitty-gritty specifics of what you want. Like, for example, one of the biggest things I had an issue with, I want a house on a cliffside in such and such state, and it needs to be this many bedrooms, and it needs to have this type of roof, and it needs to have a circled driveway with a fountain. Like, all of these things, I put conditions on the type of dream home I want, when really just be broad with it. I want a 5-bedroom home, cliffside somewhere with a view. Right?
Or I need a home big enough for these people.
Exactly.
Right?
For this purpose.
For this purpose, yes.
And be broad with it. And so dream big. Dream huge. Do not shrink your dreams. You can have huge dreams, but do not get specific with it. Do not get in your own head, and do not try to plan out how you're going to get that big dream.
Right. Let go of the wheels.
Let go of the wheel.
Yes. So, Mike gives us what the greatest secret is.
Yeah.
And I love this.
What is it?
Happiness.
Strive for happiness in everything.
Enjoying your life.
Yeah.
And being grateful for where you're at in the moment is huge. Because if you can't be grateful for where you're at, how can you continue to grow it? And, it's fine to achieve where you're at and then, okay, more.
Yeah.
But grateful every step along the way.
Be grateful for where you're at, but don't feel ashamed for where you want to be.
No, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I think that's where, we talk about toxic positivity, is that people are like, well, I just need to be happy where I'm at and forever grateful and be positive and this and that. No, want more, desire more, be more.
Yes. So what I love is, Mike wraps the book up. He has a question and answer chapter, which is great, but he also has kind of a tools and techniques chapter. And this is great but please do not skip ahead and go to that.
Oh, yeah.
No.
Don't cheat, guys. Don't cheat. Don't get the cliff note. Well, I guess we are kind of the cliff notes. But get to the end, okay? Watch 1 through 3 and then come to this one.
But more importantly, we're talking about the book, but we're not talking about everything in the book because Mike, you have to buy the book. One, we respect Mike's opinion, and this is not to surpass you wanting to buy his book, right? We're not giving you that enough.
There's just so many third-party stories and experiences, and a lot of them will resonate with you.
Yes.
And you read a book, you're not only here just to hear. You hear the saying of, did you hear me? Were you listening to me, or did you just hear me? And this is where we talk about the book. If you're listening to us, great, I'm all for it. But please pick up a copy, because
there's so much more.
There's so much
we didn't even hint on.
And we want it to resonate with you. We want you to listen to it. We want you to connect with it. And in the book, you will definitely be able to connect with the third-party stories, his experiences, what we're saying, what
evolving yourself.
Yeah, experiences that you've had. So pick up a copy.
Yes. So in his tools and techniques, he does talk about a few ways to really kickstart manifestation. However, I will say you can't start these until you shift your mindset, your belief, and your thought process. Yeah. You can't jump to these things and expect them to work. There are so many stories we tell ourselves. Yes, we're good. There are so many stories we tell ourselves, but one of the think he has 5 or 6 main tools. And I would agree, if you listen to anybody else who tries to help you with manifestation, visualization is probably the biggest thing, right? You got to see what it is that you want and envision it and believe it.
But feel it.
Feel it, yes.
Yeah.
And it should align with your beliefs. I think that's the key thing. Second tool that he suggests is making scrapbooks or vision boards. This works for some people.
Yeah.
It doesn't work for others. I've listened to other coaches and leaders on manifestation, and some of them have never done a vision board, and that's okay. I think that's the thing with manifestation is it's because it's a spiritual thing, you do need to find the right pathway. So these are tools, not exceptions.
Yeah. I actually, my vision board's not really a vision board, I guess. It's kind of I have in my office, it's 1 to 5 year goal plan, what I want to accomplish. But that's there, and I see it every single day. So it serves to me as a vision board because I'm seeing and visually seeing it every single day, and seeing what it is that I said that I wanted to achieve for that
I've
year.
seen that, and it's awesome.
To the final year.
Absolutely. And then he talks about getting yourself primed, which means you have to almost get into your thought process that, and he uses the word deserve, even, right? But you deserve what you dream for.
Well,
right, but we talked about
Yeah.
our perception of the word deserve,
rationalize.
right?
Yeah, don't use deserve as rationalizing it. Like, if you want to reinforce that you deserve something, right? We all deserve something. I just don't want it to be used as let me rationalize why I want something.
Because there's no need to rationalize. This universe is so abundant.
Yeah.
He talks about looking beyond the dream.
Yeah.
So if your dream is this, well, what could happen next? Or if he says, what if I gave you like $20 million ATM or something like that? Or are you at a constant supply? Like, what would you do with it? Who would you need to hire to help manage it? Or something like that. Like you had all this money that you could ever. And he does acknowledge not everybody's desire is money.
Yeah. But like if your desire, so let's just say you're coming from a point of you have $0 in your bank account, but you want to manifest $100 million. Are you prepared to manage that $100 million? Do you know what you would do with it? Because for most people, it's buy a house, buy a car, college fund, maybe invest in 401k or whatever. You have a superficial layer of what you would do with that, but beyond that, you do not know. I say, if your dream is for $100 million, prepare yourself for $100 million.
Where will it go?
Where will it go?
Who do you need to help?
Who would you invest it in? And I say who because remember, you help others that want to help themselves, right? Where would you go? So do you stay here? Do you go somewhere else? And how will you manage it? What investment portfolio will you do? Will you open up businesses? What businesses? Which businesses interest you? So just if you want $100 million, because the universe is going to give you exactly what you're prepared to accept. If not, you will go through a journey of learning those things before you get it. So if you want $100 million, start taking the steps now to figure out how you will manage a portfolio that size.
Yes, absolutely. He talks about getting playful and having fun.
Yeah. I love it. He talked about this where he said he envisioned, having a private jet or helicopter or something like that, And I thought that was super cute and super fun. Yeah, but playing around and going back and forth and just having fun with.
Let your dreams run wild, like a child, right? And then lastly, maybe some people need to have note cards or bullet points of their goals and ambitions or dreams and what have you.
Yeah.
So these are all different tools and techniques that, on average, are used. Do you need to do all of them? Maybe you do. Maybe. Do you need to do one of them? Do you need to do none of them? I think each of us takes a different journey.
I'd say just go down that list, pick one, focus on that until it becomes second nature. Then when it's second nature, read the book again, pick another one and do it until that feels like second nature. And then you just stack it. If you're going to stack anything, stack the tips and tricks that he's talking about until where you do it on a regular basis without you even noticing it.
Becomes second nature. Yep, absolutely. And then he digs into those acts of faith.
That's
And
all
that's
that.
where you are kind of
Acting as if.
right. And again, he warns, don't live outside of your means, but if you truly believe that 100 million is coming to you, what should you begin to research? You need to see, 100 million, my goodness.
Yeah.
Some of us can't even fathom that.
Can't even.
And if your goal is to have a house paid off, your kids' college, a house, I dare say you don't even need 100 million. 100 million is things that begin to influence communities
Yes.
and cities
Yeah.
and even the world.
Yeah.
Like, what will you do? Who do you need to hire?
Yeah.
What do you need? What different accounts do you need your money to go to? Like, you have to be ready for that, or if not, you're kind of asking in vain.
You be prepared. It's it's like the Boy Scouts, be prepared. But it's one of those, act in faith also can go to just the idea of giving back. Don't wait till you have it in order to give back. And I'm not even talking about the physical side of stuff, right? It could be, if you had $100 million, chances are you're not working at a corporate job 9 to 5. You're working for yourself. Working for yourself actually means sometimes you're working longer than 40 hours a week. However, you're able to decide where your time, allocate your time is.
Yes.
So in this case, if maybe you should donate your time to working at an animal shelter or a soup kitchen, or maybe it's an after school care program at your local school. And even if all it is for 1 or 2 hours, what can you do to start aligning yourself with the life of what it would be like to be a multimillionaire?
Right.
Right? So not just your portfolio, your stock portfolio, your home portfolio, but think about your time portfolio. Where would you give back your time? And that's something I actively am working on at this moment, where I was discussing with my husband. I'm like, I want to align myself with abundant wealth, and that's in everything. And part of what I want to do is give back, which is why Sage Consultants, what we're doing now, aligned with me completely, was that I've been very successful in our businesses, and this really aligned with how could I give back
and help others.
Like, I've learned a lot through my trials and tribulations and my experiences. How could I align myself and tell you guys, if I could spare you anything, or help you, how can I give back? And that's where we talk.
That's where we're at with that.
Yes, exactly.
Absolutely. And that feels good. So you're trying to manifest things. You want it to happen. Mike gives a few last tips in the book, and there's so many more than what we're covering. But what I love is he talks about have a goal for the day.
Oh, yeah, I do that every day.
And I think most of the majority of successful, wealthy business owners and entrepreneurs continue to set goals. I mean, we read, Eat the Frog, and it's all about goal setting and planning and setting appropriate goals. But even if you're not, goal setting just small, right? You want to have $100 million. Okay, great. But what can you do right now, tomorrow? Does it start with educating yourself?
Most of it starts with that.
Sure. Mindset.
And it's not like, so some people think, goal for the day needs to be huge, like 1-2 hours long. Some of them will be, but not most of them.
Small.
My goals typically will be educate myself on, I like to keep up with the local economy or my stock portfolio or something like that. And it's educating myself on something new. Maybe I'm researching a new company or something like that I might possibly want to invest in. That could be the goal, because that is aligning myself to the greater goal of making sure we're independently wealthy. Or it could be I'm having an issue, a tribulation in B Chic LLC. Okay, well, what can I do to align myself to resolving that goal that could prohibit me to making sure that is running efficiently? So just have one goal, one little goal.
Go after it.
It could be like you said, educating yourself, solving a problem. And a goal can also be donating your time if you want.
Yes.
Stuff like that.
Absolutely. And so he says, goal for the day. Then he says, just start, right? You have these ideas, you have these dreams, you have these passions. Take that first step. But then what I really, really love is he digs into what happens when it's not working. And I think that's really huge, because I think maybe some of our listeners have tried manifestation and they're like, it's not working for me.
Well, if you declare it, it's not.
Well, of course, yes. So he had to think about the example with his own t-shirt business. And there was a point where what they were doing, it wasn't generating what they needed anymore. And he also was beginning to go a different direction. I feel like he had really woken up, if you will. He had found his voice. So, yes, what I love is he addresses what happens when it's not working, right?
Yeah.
You try manifestation and something's just not working. You're believing, you're trusting, you think you're doing the right thing. And Mike's a business owner. So this is what's great, because he got to a point with his totally
Unique
t-shirts. Things were just not going the direction they wanted. And they had to make that really painful decision to close up, right?
Yeah.
But in the end, what he was ultimately wishing for, a happy, fulfilling career, traveling the world, and that the universe was taking him a different direction. So it's not to say that it's not really hard to part ways with something that you thought you were in the universe's, because he said that was really hard. And I'm sure, as any business owner has experienced, when you have to close a major chapter or even the full chapter.
Oh, gosh, it hits home, because remember I said when a trajectory change happens,
It can be painful.
very painful, but it's necessary to align you on that right path. But what makes it even harder is when you identify with this and you're being forced to go this way. So as a business owner, you tend to identify with whatever business you're running, product you're selling, service you're providing, right?
Well, and I think part of us, too, think we've invested so much time and money, we have to figure out how to make it work. That's part of those stories we tell ourselves.
So you know what's funny is Danny goes and tells me something earlier where he was talking about in Hollywood. That Hollywood would go and record or go make a movie, and they can spend $102 million or $200 million making this movie. It could be done, edited and everything, and then they won't launch it. Because when they go and find out and do some research or seeing what the feedback is from whoever critiqued the movie, and they see that it will cost them more money to try and push for a break even, they scrap the whole thing.
Wow.
So imagine you're putting all the time, money, the actors,
and the amount of people involved,
and then for it never to come out is because they went in and saw, okay, well, lesson learned, this is not where we need to be. Let's change derail and go somewhere else. And so it makes me think about, like, even in my own business, sales are down because right now the economy and retail, for the most part, not in every sector, but for what we do in retail is down, right? And so you tend, as a business owner, to say, is it you? Is it your fault? What can you do differently?
Or is it my products?
Is it your product? Do I need to reinvent? Or then there's that other side comes in and says,
is it time to
pivot? Is it time to pivot? Do we need to think about another category? Maybe this is a stepping stone to something else, but then you start going into, do you really want to pivot? Look how much time we've been in business for 14 years selling this product. Do we really want to do this? But this is where I go, and I come back to this book and I say, if it's time to pivot, the universe will let me know. The trajectory and the change of trajectory might be a little hard and difficult and a big pill for me to swallow, but if it's meant to be, I am in full faith that the universe will guide me on where I need to go. And things will just align and go that way. And that's where I go, and I let my hands off the steering wheel and I say, take it. Now, that doesn't say it's not a bumpy road along the way.
And then you don't have to do your research and your planning.
Exactly.
And your brainstorming and trying things.
100%. And it doesn't mean that you just say, okay, well, let me just cut all this off together or something like that.
This does not mean lay in bed until the next check comes,
And
because that doesn't happen.
Exactly. And so like even in our business, sales are down, but we're still generating you know what I'm saying, hundreds and thousands of dollars. It's just that
The profit margin.
is shrinking,
last
and then
year,
so you're
yeah.
starting to say, okay, do you persevere forward? So business owners know, all business owners go through this. They go through second guessing themselves, and it really just comes back where you're going to find solace is in your faith that he talks about. Is that the universe, God, however your higher being is, has your back, and whatever you really want, it wants to give it to you.
Absolutely.
It wants to give it to you, and so if you have faith in that, then just go the path of least resistance. And just do what it is in your heart and your soul is telling you to do, and go forward. And believe that whatever path you're supposed to go on, it's going to throw you there. You might not like it, but it'll throw you there anywhere. Anyways, you know. Yeah. So going back to this book here is, when it doesn't go your way, be okay with that.
I want to wrap this episode up with a quote from him. He says, "It's astounding how well things work out when you stop resisting or insisting. If you're not honest with yourself, you're going to manifest warning signals everywhere, and the very sands beneath your feet will begin shifting."
I love that.
Everything you just said, I feel like, right? Y'all, wow. Emotional, spiritual,
Very.
a little bit magical.
Very much so.
Yes. Amazing book, Mike. Thank you. We're
Thank
neighbors,
you.
by the way. Hit us up. Orlando.
Yamame.
Hey, Yamame. Manifest Distilling. Y'all, we are just a short drive away. We will be coming there because we want to try all your beautiful spirits.
Thank you
with
so
another
much.
book.
Thank you so much.
And you guys, this was a lot. This was a little different for us at
Very
Sage
much
Consultants.
different. I think we were very vulnerable, and you have a very big insight into how Kristen and I and how our spiritual alignment is. I say vulnerable because I think sometimes we are going against what the norm is.
Yeah.
Thought
the norm,
is.
Professional, picture perfect.
Yes. And I just, I want to reiterate.
We're picture perfect.
I do.
Because we're us.
So I want to reiterate, guys, that we're not saying, we're atheists or anything like that. We believe in a higher spiritual being. We just we don't have the normal label that everyone else puts on it.
Right. And there is so much more that we can achieve.
Yes.
When we break out of the limitations of what society and various doctrines have enforced on us.
Yes. Agreed.
So,
Agreed.
Freedom!
Yes. With that,
grab a good book.
Get some great booze.
And grab an amazing buddy that you can trust and take on the journey with you.
I love that.
All right, y'all. Cheers. Please, the subscribe thing. Hold on, I have to have a drink.
Bad luck if you don't.
Share. Please share. Pass this one along, hopefully, right? And give us some feedback.
Please do. Comment below. Not only is it going to give us feedback on what it is that you liked, didn't like, resonated with, but actually commenting, little did we know, actually helps the YouTube algorithm.
Oh!
So please
put a smiley face.
Put a fire emoji, something, but please comment below and let us know what you think.
All right. See you next time.
Bye.
Bye, guys.